Following the Indian tradition, we shall now welcome our guests florally. I would like to request NOSPLAN President Ayush Upadhyay to welcome Mr. M.N. Butch, our chief guest. I now request our convention officer, Mr. Anmol Anand, to florally welcome Professor Amitabh Kundu, our guest of honor. I now request Swarna Dutt to present bouquet to Mr. V.K. Singh. I now request Mr. Anmol Anand to present the memento and bouquet to Mr. Ajay Khare. I request Garima Pal to welcome Mr. HOD, Mr. Binayak Chaudhary. I request Anmol Anand to welcome Mr. Ayush Upadhyay. Thank you. I would now request our director, Professor V.K. Singh, to kindly welcome our distinguished guests, fellow friends and faculties of the planning schools coming from various parts of the country. But before that, I would like to briefly introduce him to everyone. An internationally acclaimed chemist, Padma Shri Professor Vinod Kumar Singh began his schooling in a nondescript village of Uttar Pradesh and subsequently rose to frequent the labs at nationally and internationally acclaimed universities, including Howard University. He did his postdoctoral research under the supervision of Nobel laureate Professor E.J. Corey. A distinguished member of the Scientific Advisory Council to the Prime Minister and Fellow of National Academy of Sciences, Professor Singh has been the recipient of the most prestigious awards in the field of science, namely Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar Prize and Swarna Jayanti Fellowship Award, among others. Currently, he is the Director, Indian Institute of Science, Education and Research, Bhopal, on the deputation from IIT Kanpur, where he is a Professor of Chemistry. As the founder-director of ISAR Bhopal, Professor Singh also looked after SPA Bhopal during its embryonic stage, as founder-director as an additional charge. Incidentally, Professor Singh is again back to SPA Bhopal as director, additional charge. Sir, I request you to please welcome the delegates and the gathering.
I'm very happy that SPA Bhopal is holding Mahakumbh for all the planning students, faculty and practitioners. On this occasion, on behalf of the Institute and my personal behalf, I extend hearty welcome to all the participants, dignitaries who have come from far away to attend this activity. I extend a special welcome to Sri M.N. Butch ji, for whom I have the deepest regard. Professor Amitabh Kundu ji and other dignitaries. In fact, first time I met Amitabh Kundu ji, and I have been told that he is the authority on the subject. So I am looking forward to his keynote address. SPA Bhopal, as you all know, started in 2008. In fact, I was associated with this institute in the beginning till Professor Khare took charge and who brought the institute to this level. And it's just a chance that again I have been given a charge of this institute till a new director is appointed. I am sure that in next few days, SPA is going to have various activities related to this Mahakumbh, and people will have good time and will deliberate about what they call it. What I have been told that the theme of the deliberation is City for All, and it's very important. Anything we discuss, anything we do must be inclusive, so that people from various levels of societies can enjoy it, can feel it, can be part of it. It is very difficult to have people, to make people live in city, especially look at the population, the traffic. I myself come from village, and not a very a modern village, but very backward village in eastern UP, Adamgarh. Life is very difficult. And in fact, it's my personal belief that people should move from city to village now, so that city becomes worth living. Unfortunately, it is not happening. Infrastructure of city is crumbling down, and I do not know how we are going to improve it. You go to Delhi in rainy season, in front of IT Delhi road, if it rains, you cannot drive a car because half of the car will be submerged. There is no drainage system. Anyway, I'm not expert. I'm looking forward to listen to some of the people, and with these words, I like to welcome all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, in order to make you all understand what exactly NOSPLAN Convention is all about, I would like to invite NOSPLAN President Mr. Ayush Upadhyay on stage to kindly enlighten us with the NOSPLAN brief.
Good morning. I welcome all the respected guests, faculty and delegates to 16th Annual NOSPLAN Convention, Samavesh. With us today is our chief guest, Shri M.N. Buddh sir, and the guest of honor, Professor Amitabh Kundu, Director, SPA Bhopal and Patron to 16th Annual Convention, Dr. V.K. Singh, mentor of 16th Annual NOSPLAN Convention, Professor Ajay Khare, and the convener of 16th Annual NOSPLAN Convention, Dr. Vinayak Chaudhary. We are honored with their presence with us. At the onset, let me tell you in brief what NOSPLAN is about. The aim is to bring all the students and professionals of planning together to enhance interaction between them and discuss the general issues related to the field. This also enables exchange of intellect and information to and fro between students, professionals and academicians within the field, and hence increase the knowledge of each individual. Before moving on, I would like to introduce the member of National Council team. It is composed of National Treasurer Vipul Kumar, the National Web Manager Shubham Agrawal, the Editor-in-Chief Amrita Bhatnagar, and the Convention Officer Anmol Anand. I would like to sincerely thank each of them for their immense contribution towards the activities and betterment of NOSPLAN throughout the year. As one of our activities, we hold an annual convention each year at one of the participating colleges where students come together to share their knowledge and discuss their idea with the community. Last year, IDS Mysore hosted a convention theme around the concept of safe cities, and following the same tradition, SPA Bhopal is conducting this year's convention titled Samavesh, which represents inclusion. We would like to thank Mr. Ajay Khare sir, ex-director SPA Bhopal, and the entire management for helping us to host this event. With a constant effort from our team, we started with the vision of expanding NOSPLAN to include international collaborations. But soon we realized that a lot of background work needed to be done to achieve this. To fulfill this, our team has to constantly strive through ups and downs to build upon the structures of previous years and to leave a strong platform for the years to come. For this, we also decided to conduct year-round activities beside annual convention itself. This includes the publication of quarterly NOSPLAN magazine called NewsPlan, regular updates on website regarding what is going on in the organization, and improved transparency of our processes. This, we hope, is the first among many steps to take NOSPLAN to our aspirations. I hope succeeding council will also work hard to continue the legacy. I would like to thank everyone once again and hope the convention shall be a wonderful learning experience for all of you. My best wishes to all the participating team. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ayush. Now I guess we all are aware of what is going to happen in the coming 3 days. Now I would like to request our chief guest, Padma Shri M.N. Buch sir, to address the students. But before I hand over the mic to sir, I would like to introduce him to the audience. An alumnus of St. Stephen College, Delhi and Cambridge University, Padma Bhushan Shri Mahesh N. Buch hosts in himself a rare constellation of many a quality, an eminent civil servant, a vociferous environmentalist, an urban manager, and above all, a humanist. Held in the highest esteem in the bureaucracy as well as in the civil society, honored with the Man of Vision Award, Aga Khan Award, UNEP Award, Shri Buch joined the Indian Administrative Service, Gujarat Cadre, way back in 1964. Okay, I'm sorry, it's Gujarat Cadre in 1964. Okay, sorry, sir. Shri Buch had traversed along the corridors of bureaucracy in various capacities. Besides serving the routine posting as district collector, secretary to the state government in various departments, Shri Buch shouldered several key responsibilities during his illustrious civil service career. The posts held by Shri Buch include Chairman, Kandla Port Trust, Vice Chairman, Delhi Development Authority, Director General, National Institute of Urban Affairs, Vice Chairman, National Commission on Urbanization, Chairman, Lutyens Bungalow Zone Committee of Government of India. Under the aura of a civil servant, however, shines a greater light of immense knowledge and wisdom. Shri Buch has been a scholar at many institutes, including Indian Institute of Public Administration, postgraduate diploma from University College, London. He was powerful. Sir, I kindly request you to come up and address the gathering.
Professor V.K. Singh, Professor Khare, thank you so much for inviting me to address this very distinguished audience. And though my friend Amitabh Kundu is sitting up on the stage, temporarily he will also become part of the audience, Professor Chaudhary also. Now, I'm going to start by asking you a question. I'd expect some response before I proceed further. What is the ruling philosophy of town planning and architecture in this country? Would somebody like to enlighten me? The ruling philosophy, what guides us in all our town planning and in our architecture? And I'm asking this in the context of today's subject, Cities for All. Would anyone like to attempt an answer? No, you'll never guess. The ruling philosophy is what I call the Chanel number 5 philosophy. You know, Chanel is a scent. Well, the Chanel number 5 philosophy governs us this way. When the stench, the stink, the smell of a slum cannot be kept out of our nostrils by a handkerchief soaked in Chanel number 5, we bring on the bulldozers and clear the slum. That is our ruling philosophy. We forget that all cities are built by people who live in slums. Because this is the labor which comes in from outside, has no place to go because we planners are unable to find any place for them to stay. So they help themselves to whatever land is available by the side of a nala, in a depression, in a place which town planners say can't be built on. And they build their settlements there. And how do we treat them? We treat them as some sort of animals who do not need any facilities. They don't need water supply. They don't need sewerage. They don't need access roads. They don't need any services, no garbage clearing. Because after all, what are they? They're not human beings. And therefore, when we talk of cities for all, we must try and remember that we're not talking about cities for all. We're talking about a city, a planned city for some, and an unplanned non-city for others. This is the reality of India. And we have to face up to this. Therefore, I feel very upset when I hear about planners and government servants and others falling over themselves and talking about smart cities. What's a smart city? I tried to ask the Secretary of the Ministry of Urban Development, which is supposed to develop smart cities, I said, can you give me a definition of a smart city? They said, I haven't a clue. We're still working on this. I'll make a submission to you. Every city, new city in India, started off as a smart city, including Hastinapur. If you take Jamshedpur, which came up as a steel town in the middle of nowhere, it is a town specifically designed to serve the needs of a new industry, the steel industry, which didn't exist in India. It was a smart city. Bhilai, Rourkela, Durgapur, all were smart cities. They were designed for a particular function. But you know what happens in India is a country in which, and I want you youngsters to realize this, well, I don't really count now, you do. I want you to have this somewhere in the back of your mind when you do your work. That India is a country in which there's great inequality. Professor V.K. Singh spoke about a village in Azamgarh. That's one world. Even the district town of Azamgarh is another world within that same district. Now you must try and understand that in a country where there's such inequality, in which there's so much poverty, unemployment, and on the other hand you set up a so-called smart city where everything is planned, where employment is available, where the wages are relatively higher than the earnings of everyone else. Such a place is bound to attract the poor. One reason why people come to the cities is because they think that they will be able to earn something there. The mass migration of agricultural labor from Bihar, which used to take place, which still takes place, is because they have nothing to eat. So they go to the Punjab, they're treated like dirt, but at least they can earn something. Now, this is the reality. You set up a smart city in the middle of nowhere. I'll lay you a bet, 20 years later it will be a city, a planned city in the midst of a sea of slums. Now this is the reality of the Indian situation. And therefore when you talk of cities, and you talk of cities for all, please understand that you must start from the lowest common denominator. Charles Correa has designed a number of buildings in Bhopal. I take pride in the fact that I was one of the persons, I was the first person to have commissioned him for his the work which got him really well known. It's not the Seva, it's not the ashram in Sabarmati. It is the Bharat Bhavan in Bhopal. And he designed a beautiful building. Because I told him I want a building which is a non-building. It shouldn't look like a building at all. And he's done that. It's a series of courtyards. And now, each one of you can aspire to be Charles Correa. Because each one of you can probably go on to design beautiful buildings that are world acclaimed. Even I was lucky enough to get the Aga Khan Award for Architecture for the Vidhan Sabha building in Bhopal, which personally I think is the most worthless building ever built. And I'm serious about it. The new Vidhan Sabha, which I got with Charles Correa, and I got the Aga Khan Award, the beautiful building, totally non-functional. The electricity bill of the old Vidhan Sabha building in those days was 18,000 a month, and of the new Vidhan Sabha is 18 lakhs a month. Now it's much more. Now, you can design a building like that, or like Berthold, you can develop cities which are usable by the poor. That's a smart city. So when you think in terms of cities for all, please ask yourself this question: for whom am I planning? Am I planning for those who don't need plans in any case because they'll hire some architect or something to build whatever they want to build? Are you planning for the builder? Or are you planning for people? Now this is a very, very important thing. I won't take too much more of your time, but wherever you are, because JNN URM is operational in many, many towns in India, go and look at what is being built for the slum dwellers. For the slum dwellers, we are building 5-6-story walk-up structures. One room, a notional kitchen and a notional lavatory and bath. Now, imagine you are on the 5th floor. You have a wife and 3 children, probably a goat also. And you have to live up there, walk-up place. And this woman is faced with having to look after 3 screaming, crying, squabbling children in that one room. You have designed not for accommodating people. You designed for bringing on early dementia for that woman. And it reminds me of a story. There was this Jewish gentleman. He goes to his rabbi and says, "Rabbi, I'm miserable." He says, "Why?" He said, "You know, I've got only one room. I've got a wife and 8 kids, and my mother-in-law also stays with us. It's so terribly overcrowded, you know, I just can't live here." So the rabbi says, "Go and get a goat." He said, "Get a goat?" He says, "Get a goat and keep the goat in your room." So he goes there and says, "You know, Rabbi, I've kept a goat and it's horrible now. There's myself, my wife, my 8 children, my mother-in-law and a goat." So he said, "Now get rid of that goat." So he gets rid of this goat and comes back a little and says, "Rabbi, oh, I'm so happy. I got this big room. I've only got myself, my wife, 8 children and my mother-in-law." So that is the kind of situation you're trying to develop for them. And you know, you go to any slum in India. By and large, slum consists of self-built housing, of all the junk material that's lying around. These people, they're not architects, they're not planners, they're not engineers, but they build with this material. The buildings as such are nondescript. They just grow out of the earth. If you drive past them, you'll miss them. What strikes you is the dirty water, the pools of dirty water, the flies and the mosquitoes, the pigs, rooting through the garbage that is collected, and a general sense of dirt. Remove that dirt, provide them services, and provide them at least some basic cleanliness, and you won't even notice that the slum is there. And I don't think your program is going to give you enough time, but there is one site in Bhopal I would suggest you go and see. In 1972, I was heading many departments of government. Urban planning was one of them. We built a slum. We took a slum area where there's now a beautiful rose garden, and shifted slum dwellers to Panchsheel Nagar, which is still within cycling distance, a place called Panchsheel Nagar. Then what we did, we provided them sites and services and a skeletal house. Not free. I said, I don't care if you're poor, you still have to pay 12 rupees 50 paisa per month in installments. So you get a sense of ownership. And as and when you collect a little money, you can go on building houses there. It's a prime example of a serviced site where we give the minimum basic services to people, where people have gradually built. It gives them incremental housing also. They built gradually over there. And it's a nice working class, lower middle income class housing area where one can stay reasonably comfortably and in reasonable cleanliness. Next to it, a slum has come out in the road which goes from Manit to main road number 3 basically. And that slum is totally unserviced. And you see the contrast between the two. Now you've got a plan for those people. If you ensure that the whole city becomes Panchsheel Nagar, that's fine. If you ensure that the whole city becomes golf links in Delhi, it's not fine. Because both of them are at extremes. So what I'm trying to tell you is, in your deliberations, please appreciate that you are in a country where things are not going to be ideal. It is the difference between you and a chap like me who's totally illiterate in architecture and town planning. The difference between you and me is this: you have the education and you have the educational skills to be able to plan. Now, plan with your minds, not only with the skills that have been taught to you in these schools. I'm very happy that SPA Bhopal has hosted this function. I've attended them in the past in other places. I've been very, very impressed by the quality of the students who are coming into the discipline of architecture and town and country planning. And I'm speaking in front of Professor Singh, who himself is heading what I consider an institution at the very apex of all our institutions, whether they be the IITs or IIMs or what the Indian Institute of Science, Education, Research are the very apex, because from them and the research will flow what this country will become. So even then, I still feel that planning and architecture are attracting a very good quality of students. Now all I'm saying is, use your minds. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. It is a privilege to learn from your diverse thoughts and experiences in planning profession. Moving forward, here we are obliged to have the person who has accepted the challenge of hosting the 16th NOSPLAN convention in this under construction campus. Widely known as an eminent conservationist, Professor Ajay Khare was the director of School of Planning and Architecture, Bhopal. Before assuming the office of the director, SPA Bhopal, Professor Khare was professor and dean, Faculty of Architecture at Birla Institute of Technology, Mesra, Ranchi. Sir, kindly enlighten us with your words so apt for this convention.
Thank you very much, student representative. At the outset, I would say that I am the most happy person around that NOSPLAN is being hosted in our School of Planning and Architecture. On this occasion, respected M.N. Buch has agreed to inaugurate the function. Professor Amitabh Kundu has agreed to grace this place and this occasion. I'm really thankful to you both, sir, and I welcome you both amongst our students. Professor Vinod Kumar Singh, as in the initial introduction somebody said, he started this institute. In fact, the land on which we are building this one was facilitated by sir, and that is one of the assets which we really, I would say, treasure, because I have few students from Vijayawada who share their stories with us and what are they going to do and what is happening. And of course, your director would be here after some days. Somebody said that took the challenge to host. No, it was not at all a challenge. For me, I am a very positive person in that sense. When Chetan on 5th of July, Professor Vaidya came to me and said that, Ajay, there is a problem. This NOS plan was supposed to be hosted somewhere and they are not ready for it. So can SPA Bhopal host it? That was 5th of July, only a week after our Honorable Minister has visited us, and she promised that in the monsoon session, our bill, SPA bill, will be approved in Parliament. And we believed that this is going to happen. And that is why on 5th of July, I could dare to say that, oh, it is very good, we will host NOS plan and then convocation will be combined with it. Well, today this event, I can say with confidence that however our bill was little delayed and could not be approved in monsoon session, but Minister has kept her promise, and in 18 days of period, I would say 15 days of period, 3rd of December introduction in Parliament and Lok Sabha approval, 10th of December approval in Rajya Sabha, and 18th of December gazette notification. It looks like a dream. And I have kept that gazette notification in hand just for the sake that I can believe, yes, this is true, because we have been fighting for it for 6 years almost. And for this, I congratulate my students only. Why? Because they took up the challenge and met the Prime Minister. They went with School of Planning and Architecture, Vijayawada students and Bhopal students. And they created an environment. Then Venkaiah Naidu ji was contacted and this could be done. So this has been a great effort. Once again, I would request all of you to please give a big round of applause to those students who have created this day for us. And well, I'm sure that in coming months, Professor Vinod Singh is going to host the convocation very soon, and all those 282 students who are in market and those who are going to get their degree this year also, they will all get their degrees, and we will be able to fulfill one promise for which I remember the days when students used to say, Sir, आपको तो सब मालूम था, आपने admission क्यों लेते रहे? Well, वो शब्द हमारे दिल में अभी भी कौनते हैं, लेकिन चमत्कार होते हैं. 18 दिन में जब बिल पास हो सकता है तो सब कुछ हो सकता है. So congratulations to all. As far as this NOS plan event hosting was concerned, yes, this was a wonderful moment for SPA Bhopal to have agreed for it. And वैसे तो महाकुंभ में बहुत लोग होते हैं, मुझे कम लग रहे हैं, but still it is a महाकुंभ, so please enjoy the event in the best possible way, as you definitely can share your works with the best of the experts available. I am sure that tomorrow and day after tomorrow there will be many more people coming, and for that they will be judging your work which you have submitted, and you would definitely get a wonderful 3 days of experience. I would like to thank my, however, that's not my work, but vote of thanks will be delivered by Professor Binayak Chaudhary, but I must thank him. When I came back from Delhi after that event, I thought that I will break the news and tell him that we are going to host NOS plan. When I came back, the whole college knew that NOS plan is going to be hosted by SPA Bhopal. I don't know whether it was Upadhyay's idea to break the news to students first, and then everybody was ready for it. Everybody worked very hard for it, especially the professor's team led by Shama madam, who could deliver this event in such a small duration in such a wonderful way. With that, I would say that I'm sure that these organizers have kept me between Dr. Buch and Dr. Kundu, because otherwise it would have become a great dialogue in which Dr. Kundu was answering all the things which Professor Dr. Buch has raised. So I came as a filler, and in that I would also do a little bit of exercise related with hello. Oh, good. Yesterday, the Bharat Ratna Award was announced for our former Prime Minister. I consider whatever may be the reason for the award, but I consider him as one of the person who have envisaged huge projects related with India. That's one quadrilateral and metro rail and many things, even joining of these rivers. SPA Bhopal has been working on many such projects in a very small way, like in Chitrakoot. If we are planning some kind of doing some planning, then Betwa and Kain are being joined. Then if we are doing some work in Ujjain, then some rivers are also being. So then our effort in SPA Bhopal have been to contribute to whatever is being done in the mission. And that is why we say that SPAs, when created, they became a turning point for the education of planning and architecture. And I consider one more turning point in field of planning and architecture, that is when B-Plan actually as a degree was created. I was a student at that point of time, and we used to wonder what is this B-Plan degree, where it came from. And when we visited their studios, we were PG students at that time, and the first batch was being taken up by Professor Kavas Kapadia, and Ansari sir was the head. So that particular discipline actually created this field. When anybody asks me that why do you consider it as turning point, I say that architecture was a profession of elite till that time. Architecture could become a profession of working for all only after B-Plan was introduced in this. So SPAs as an entity are for planning and architecture. They can't be and should not be and must not be divided into two parts, that planning and architecture. No, if planning education enriches by architecture, by the presence of architecture faculty, the same is true for otherwise. And I have seen that as a student, as professor, as teacher, we have worked very hard to create this kind of ethos in our institute where we can contribute for the national causes, and I'm sure this will continue. I end my little speech, not very little, but little speech by welcoming all those students who have come from all parts of the country, especially SPA Vijayawada and SPA Delhi. Why I'm saying especially? Because they have come here as messengers who say that SPA is now a system and we are together. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much, sir, for your wisdom words. Next, we come to the inauguration of magazine, and for the same, I invite Student Magazine Council on stage for the inauguration. Thank you so much. We are indeed fortunate to have another eminent scholar amongst us as the guest of honor for today's event. I invite Professor Amitabh Kundu to come on dais and deliver the keynote address. Though he needs no introduction, nonetheless, we take this opportunity to formally acknowledge his contributions. Professor Amitabh Kundu is synonymous with the urban Chintan around the country. there has hardly been any discourse on urban affairs in the country at any significant academic or government forum which Mr. Amitabh Kundu has not addressed. An economist by training, Professor Kundu had been teaching until recently at the Center for the Study of Regional Development, Jawaharlal Nehru University. A senior Fulbright Fellow of Peninsular University, Professor Kundu has served as the Dean of School of Social Sciences at JNU. His roles range from being an eminent academician, administrator, and advisor to the government. Professor Kundu headed 3 renowned institutions of the country: National Institute of Urban Affairs, Indian Council of Social Science Research, and Gujarat Institute of Development Research at different points of time. Among his many advisory positions, a few key ones include being a member of National Statistical Commission, expert group of 11th 5-year plan, and chairperson of the 2 technical groups, Urban Housing Shortage of MOUD and Housing Startup Index of RBI. Sir, we request you to kindly address the gathering.